dark side of nursery rhymes. We start with a familiar one, a classic childhood staple.
Baa Baa Black Sheep, have you any wool?
The controversy surrounding this nursery rhyme began in the late 80s and 90s when it was connected to slavery in the American South. Proponents of this view argue the following. The black sheep is a reference to the African descent of American slaves. The 3 bags full of wool reflects the cotton that slaves were forced to collect in large bags, and the master-sheep relationship is reminiscent of master-slave language. Many experts believe that the song actually has nothing to do with slavery, nor even America. Instead, the song is believed to have originated in Britain. The first written record of this song is from an English nursery rhyme book called Tom Thumb's Pretty Songbook. It was written in 1744 and is the oldest surviving collection of English nursery rhymes out there.
The Dark Origins of Nursery Rhymes, Part 2. 3 Blind Mice. Now, 3 Blind Mice is supposedly yet another throwback to Bloody Mary's reign, with the trio in question believed to be a group of Protestant bishops, Hugh Latimer, Nicholas Radley and the Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Cranmer, who unsuccessfully conspired to overthrow the Queen and were burned at the stake for their actions. Critics suggest that the blindness in the title refers to their religious beliefs.
Sing a song of sixpence, a pocket full of rye, 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie.
You know what you're singing about?
It's about this pie that a king was baked, and then when he opened it, all these birds started singing. It was so joyful.
You know what they used to do in the Middle Ages?
What?
Entremets in the Middle Ages. Have you ever heard of those?
Yeah, they were it was like dinner entertainment, just fun dishes.
And what happened when they cut into the pie?
The birds began to sing.
Where'd they come from?
The sky.
4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie.
Yeah, and when the pie was opened, the birds began to sing.
Yeah. Where were they from?
Baked in a pie. They baked the pie with the birds alive?
Peter, Peter, Pumpkin Eater. Peter, Peter, Pumpkin Eater had a wife and couldn't keep her. He put her in a pumpkin shell, and there he kept her very well. When you first hear this, you simply think that he just hides his wife in a pumpkin shell. But looking into the words more carefully, Peter's wife was a loose woman. He couldn't keep her, so he killed her and placed her into a pumpkin shell, and there he kept her, never to run off again.
The Dark Origins of Nursery Rhymes, Part 1. Mary, Mary, quite contrary. Now, we all know how this one goes. Mary, Mary, quite contrary. How does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row. Now, that seems pretty innocent enough, but let's take it back a little bit. So this one is about Queen Mary of England, aka Bloody Mary, who was absolutely mental. Now, she had a fascination for killing Protestants and torture devices. So the silver bell was actually a torture device that was meant to crush someone's thumb, and cockle shells were actually meant for crushing genitals. Yes, that's right, genitals, and that's where it comes from.
What age were you when you first found out that all the sweet and kind nursery rhymes you got told as a child all have evil and dark backstories behind them? One of the most classic and well-renowned nursery rhymes is Ring a Ring a Rosie. I know I remember being in school and me and a bunch of people would link arms and we'd run around in a circle singing Ring a Rosie, and it was all fun and games. However, a lot of people don't actually know that the Ring Around the Rosie nursery rhyme actually derives and comes from the Black Plague. So every year, millions of kids who are none the wiser of this story are getting joy out of this song, which is actually singing about one of the worst events that's ever happened in our history. So think about the actual song for a second. We all link arms in unison. Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posy, a tissue, blowing your nose because you're ill. We all fall down, which means everyone collapses and dies from the Black Plague because it wiped out millions of people. Wow.
Humpty Dumpty was never an egg.
Humpty Dumpty was believed to be a large mortar that was used during the battle in the Siege of Colchester in 1648. In 1648, the town had a castle and several churches which were protected by a surrounding city wall. Standing adjacent to the city wall was St Mary's Church and a huge mortar, commonly referred to as Humpty Dumpty. which was strategically placed on the wall next to the church. A shot from a parliamentary mortar succeeded in damaging the wall and caused Humpty Dumpty to tumble to the ground. The soldiers attempted to raise Humpty Dumpty onto another part of the wall. However, because the mortar was so heavy, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
Little Jack Horner sat in a corner eating his Christmas pie.
Yeah, little Jack was a bad boy.
What?
Yeah, little Jack is actually Thomas Horner. You know who that is?
Yeah, no, he was a steward to the abbot of
Glastonbury. To the abbot of Glastonbury.
Okay. So,
And do you know what he was assigned to do?
yeah, he had to bring a Christmas pie to King Henry VIII.
And do you know what was inside that pie?
Probably something light, like lemon or cream.
The deeds to 12 manor houses were in that pie.
Okay, that's something different.
And do you know who magically moved into a manor shortly after?
Who?
Little Jack Horner.
So the little boy was a thief?
Yeah.
All right, I got all of y'all's tags. I'm here. Let's do the Muffin Man. Y'all want to do the Muffin Man? Let's do the Muffin Man. So as you might have already learned, the Muffin Man was indeed a serial killer. He killed 15 children and 7 rival pastry chefs. His name was Frederick Thomas Linwood, and the children's song was made to warn small children and to help small children identify his MO so that they can report him to the authorities. Guys, there's a whole Tom Cruise movie about this guy. I thought y'all knew. But, look into his death.
Here's some of the darkest nursery rhyme origin stories. Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill is by far one of the most popular nursery rhymes that all kids know. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and lost his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. The rumored origins behind this fun jingle actually refers to King Louis XVI and his wife, Marie Antoinette. They were convicted of treason in the French Revolution and were beheaded for their crimes. Jack losing his crown may be a reference to King Louis losing his throne and his head, and his wife's head came tumbling after.
As most of you are aware, all nursery rhymes that we sing innocently as kids have dark and malevolent origin stories behind them. Like the others that I've covered so far, Incy Wincy Spider is no different. This one will shock you. Welcome to the Dark Meanings Behind Nursery Rhymes Part 3, Incy Wincy Spider. So nearly all of us are familiar with this nursery rhyme. All of us as kids innocently sung Incy Wincy Spider went up the water spout. However, it turns out the Itsy Bitsy Spider is actually a dark metaphor for the deadly disease of alcoholism. When it talks about crawling up the water spout, it talks about the fact the man starts drinking. And when it talks about down came the rain and washed the spider out, it means he drank too much and it's finished him off. What most people don't know, this is an alternate version of the song. The original actually comes from the tipsy dipsy hobo, which drinks from a larger spout. They used to say this nursery rhyme in school to put kids off of drinking. It's crazy.
That's our nursery rhymes? Yes, certainly. Did you know the scholars have a couple of theories as to where the origin of London Bridge's falling down comes from? Some believe it originates from an attack by Viking Olaf II in 1014 when the alleged destruction of London Bridge happened. I say alleged because some historians believe that attack never happened. Some believe that the Vikings actually came up with the tune themselves and carried it round with them as they travelled, which is why the song is infamous worldwide. The second theory is much more sinister. Did you know that some scholars believe its origin comes from the idea that London Bridge was built on a foundation of human sacrifice, mainly consisting of children? This is the old Japanese practice of hitobushira, meaning human pillar, where you would build the foundation of an important structure with a human sacrifice in it so they would watch over it and keep its sturdiness. However, there is no archaeological proof of this.
All around the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel.
Pop Goes the Weasel, a classic.
Some of them thought we were done.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, just a few people.
Do you know what you're singing about?
Yeah, it's about a monkey who chases a weasel around a mulberry bush until the weasel's like, pop! And then scares the monkey.
No, there's not a weasel or a monkey in this song, so. What? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, no, pop is actually Cockney slang for pawn, and weasel is slang for coat. Pawn your coat? Why would they have to pawn their coat? The song is a reference for living in desperate poverty. Desperate what? Poverty. Poverty, no, I heard it. I'm just, processing. Yeah. So what happened to the monkey? There's not